They say that the NBA is built on great players and great teams, and to an extent, they're right. It's not just legends like Bird, Magic, Jordan, and LeBron made the NBA great, but teams like the Bad Boys of Detroit and recent Golden State Warriors and more that have driven things forward. But oftentimes it's moments that help seal a legacy of a year or a game or an NBA Finals. But that also works in reverse because sometimes things just get awkward. Allow us to show you some of these moments. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. Malice at the Palace. Awkward moments can mean many different things, as you'll see on this list. But sometimes the most awkward of moments is when there's a subject you need to talk about, but can't. And the infamous Malice at the Palace is a great example of that. This happened in 2004 in a game between the Detroit Pistons and the Indianapolis Pacers. Players Ben Wallace, Detroit, and Ron Artest, Pacers, got into a heated shoving match that cleared the benches. That already was bad, but then a fan threw a drink at Artest, and Artest reacted by going up into the stands and fighting with the fans, which prompted even more violence after that. Players were suspended, fans were banned from the games, and various new rules were added to try and make sure something like this never happened again. To their credit, it worked, at present at least. This kind of event hurts the integrity of the game, proves that they can't control their players or the fans. It's a bad look all around. The Malice in the Palace will indeed forever be one of the most embarrassing things in NBA history. A very awkward topic of conversation to bring up for sure. Number 6. Lebrons Hair. LeBron James is one of the greatest players ever to lace them up. But even he has problems he can't fully control. In this case, his hair. He's slowly been losing his hair for years, and this has caused many to tell him to go bald and be done with it. Instead, he went and got hair plugs, which was fine, until he went into a game in the 2019 season and his headband caused the plugs to fall out. His teammate Anthony Davis tried to warn him about it, but it was too late. Everyone saw. His barber claims that everything is real, but something like that? Yeah, that's hard to cover up, and that had to be awkward for LeBron. Number 5. The Paul Pierce incident. In June 2008, Paul Pierce was fighting alongside fellow Boston Celtics Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Rajon Rondo in order to try and beat the Los Angeles Lakers. But during one game, Paul went down and appeared to have a very serious injury. It was so bad he had to be carried to a wheelchair and then brought to the back. As we saw him get wheeled into the locker room, we feared the worst until he came back. And he led the Celtics to a victory against the Lakers and then helped them win the NBA title. 11 years later, Paul Pierce was working for ESPN and was asked about the event when he admitted, "I just had to go to the bathroom." Yeah, we can't believe it either. All that to go to the bathroom? And his fellow broadcasters happily ragged on him because of that, and no doubt this revelation caused many awkward jokes and moments for Pierce, which he kinda deserves because he turned a classic NBA moment into the literal butt of a joke. Number 4. Nuts. As you'll see later on, there are many ways to try and get into the mind of a player you're guarding, but when it came to the player Reggie Evans, he took this to the most awkward place possible. How? He decided to guard a guy and then reach under his lower region and grab an area that we won't specify, but you can guess where he grabbed. Needless to say, that was a party foul, not to mention that he was caught on camera doing it, and that made it even more awkward. Because how do you call that play? Exactly. Number 3. J.R. Smith, the blown play. In the 2018 NBA Finals, the Cavaliers were going up against their rivals in the Golden State Warriors, and Game 1 was intense from start to finish. With mere seconds left in the fourth quarter, the Warriors were up 1 when George Hill was fouled and sent to the line. The goal was simple, either make 1 or 2 and try and make sure the Warriors don't score again. Hill made the first one, but missed the second, and who rebounded the ball? J.R. Smith. When he did, he didn't put up a shot, he ran out the clock, which made the game go into overtime. His logic? He thought they were up. LeBron was furious, and they lost the game in overtime because of this blow to their momentum. The fury of LeBron carried into the locker room, and he punched a board that broke his hand, which of course caused the Cavaliers to suffer more, and they got swept from the playoffs. Try explaining to your team that goof. Awkward. Number 2. Stephen Curry, the double fail. Steph Curry is easily one of the best players in the game today, and he's known for making all kinds of insane shots. But at times, even he can have awkward moments. One time against the Lakers, he stole a ball from a player and had an open court to score. According to him, he was going to do a dunk he hadn't tried before, but instead, he slipped on the court somehow and fell. He recovered and even got the ball back in order to shoot a 3, which he airballed. According to Steph after the game, "I wanted to dunk, but the Lord wouldn't let me do it." That's awkward because once again, Curry is a boss on the court. He knows how to get things down. But here, he just couldn't, and now he'll have to live with this one on his blooper reel. Number 1, Lance Stephenson, The Ear. This wasn't just awkward, it was weird. When Lance Stephenson was a part of the Indianapolis Pacers, he was tasked with guarding LeBron James, something that many people aren't able to do for a variety of reasons. Oftentimes, defenders will go to great lengths in order to get inside the head of a person they're guarding, which is a fair game to an extent. But for Lance, he thought it was necessary to go and make it so literal that he would blow in LeBron's ear to annoy him. It worked, to an extent. And because the camera was right there, it was caught in all its glory, for better or for worse. It honestly is really hard to justify this in any way, and yet it happened. To be clear, the Pacers lost the series, and Lance was off the team not very long after. This is still his most memorable moment in the NBA. But for fans watching at home, yeah, awkward. There you go, everyone. A look at some of the most embarrassing and awkward moments in NBA history. Which of these plays or moments do you think are the worst? Which ones do you think were fine in context? Or do you think there are other moments that need to be on this list? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel.